This is ChangeMakers with Katie Gore, finding the right solutions for the affordable housing community.
Welcome back to the second part of my conversation with ChangeMaker Marcia Lewis, the Chief Executive Officer of the Memphis Housing Authority. Marcia, let's start with what you're doing with the HUD Choice Neighborhood Grant that you received.
Well, we received that $29,750,000 grant in the fall of 2015, and it was targeted at our remaining development that was traditional public housing. It was one of the oldest housing developments. We are the second oldest housing authority in the nation. Our anniversary, 85-year anniversary, is going on right now. But this development looked like a barrack style type of development. And the Choice Neighborhood Grant was not only targeted at that, but the city matched it with another 30 million so that you could not only enhance and demolish and restore this particular development, but you could work in the community around it. We've done parks, we've done homeowner facade, we've done business facade, we have done work with schools in that revitalization area. And we basically have taken down 420 units of this barrack style looking public housing and are replacing it with beautiful duplexes and walk-ups, a beautiful community center, a pool will be there, park area, artwork that has been done in conjunction with the school. We're doing early childhood there. We are doing Boys and Girls Club types of improvements, and they'll be a part of that new thriving community. We're working with the businesses in the area to improve their facade so that they can be part of this attractive new venture, if you will. And we're working with other apartments that are being built. It's like it's been a catalyst, and it stimulated the growth of the area. We're bringing back 712 units, but there are also going to be apartments, some of which have already been completed, that are going to have additional affordable housing as part of their makeup. So it has just been an amazing thing. And to see the landscape change in the way that it is, to see how it has, I think more than anything, how it has stimulated a true revitalization. Memphis Housing Authority benefited previously from receiving 5 Hope 6 grants. While they were able to do amazing things in other areas, it never moved past the nucleus of the housing developments that received the funds. The communities never really caught a hold of it and did things. They didn't have the funding to do that. This is different. The community is being enhanced along with the public housing development. So it's really, really exciting. And it is a beautiful thing. People are beginning to move back in, and they are just amazed at the opportunity to live in such a beautiful, beautiful home.
And so what's so fabulous, not only just the community revitalization, but you guys are also tackling this economic inequality that happens in addition to housing of choice, community betterment, overall personal achievement. And then you also have the economic spinoff of, the whole entire area getting a facade lift, getting confidence in their ability to provide commercial amenities or housing amenities, whatever those are. And so it hits on so many different levels, not just housing. And, you and I have actually, we've taken tours and we've driven around and we've been able to see this evolve and really create a better, not just a house, not just a duplex, not just a townhome, but you're actually giving people a chance to start new and start fresh and have a chance of that economic, stability for them because housing is the conduit. How many other areas would you tackle, if you had the 60 million to do it even more?
Another part of this is we received a small but helpful Jobs Plus grant for the community, and it has allowed us to help people seek gainful and meaningful employment at levels that, had sustainable incomes. Unfortunately, yes, some of them have been impacted by the pandemic and have not been able to retain their employment, but we are working with them still. We are working with businesses. We have major employers in our area like FedEx, ServPro, AutoZone. The hotel industry, of course, here is huge. And we are working very, very hard with those employers to be prepared to accept people who have lived and who do live in our communities. And we're working with the families to help them prepare to become employable. We're also trying to work with youth to help them develop their capacity to not only maintain educational, we've had scholarships, we've had Girls Mean Business Symposium, we've done other things with the city of Memphis's employment. Memphis means business. And it has really, I think, made a difference in a lot of people's lives and how they've been able to succeed and gain confidence to know that they can succeed.
There's conflicting management approaches to housing and affordable housing, whether it's the approach that says it's just merely the unit or the one that says, it's a unit within a community that has a responsibility for the individuals inside the unit. What is your approach to this concept when you're running the housing agency and, as you're going through these redevelopment projects here?
Well, it's kind of a balancing act. I will honestly admit that I do not like having the responsibility of managing some mandates that we've been given. I never liked when HUD issued its no smoking policies in public housing. I just felt like it was not my role to be the smoking police.
Mm-hmm.
I can hold people accountable for what they do to the unit they live in without having to tell them what they do inside of it. Yes, we do briefings. Don't get me wrong. We talk about what is acceptable and unacceptable. We cover the lease. We talk about damages to the units. We deal with criminal behavior if that is necessary. But to get down to the point of saying you cannot smoke a cigarette inside your unit, I just felt like was overreaching. I think going back to your question, there has to be a balance. I think it's very important that we listen. As a matter of fact, I have a call every other Monday with the resident council presidents who represent all of our developments. And they are kind of like the conduit back to the community to talk about their needs, to talk about changes to programs, policy. We had a huge COVID-19 testing event that took place over the last 2 weeks. I communicated with them about things like that. When I changed the policies in terms of access to our communities after the state rules and the CDC rules came down, I used that time to communicate to them about what that meant to them and not being able to have the visitors they were used to having or use our open community spaces, which we closed, or have gatherings outside when it was holidays at the little areas where we have grills or seating. So there are times when I have to be, diligent about, as a property owner, if you will, or a manager of housing programs, about what people can do when they're on those programs. And I tell people that whether it's good or bad, when you accept assistance from the government for housing, you basically give us permission to be in your business. And you may not like that because it's your home. And so, sometimes it is something that I don't necessarily like doing, but I understand my responsibility that it has to be done. People have to be held accountable. And I tell people all the time when I meet with residents, when I meet with my staff, a refrain that I use quite often is people will do what you let them.
Hmm.
If you don't hold them accountable, well, they won't be accountable. If you do, they'll conform. They know what the rules are. They know what they can do and they can't do, and they do it. So, when you don't collect rent, people don't pay it. When they know you're going to collect rent, they somehow manage to pay it. So it's kind of a balancing act that we walk. But at the end of the day, it's about providing the best place possible for a person to live. And for me, it's about providing a place where anyone on my staff, including myself, should feel comfortable living in.
One of the things that you and Shakitha Dowers and several of our team members have done is you guys have done a great job of landlord recruitment and landlord education combined with tenant education and coordination. And this has been a real success of 8,000 housing choice vouchers that you guys have in the community. How do you think that has the ability for other communities to hear what you've done and use some of that?
Well, HUD has told us that it is a best practice, and I wish I could take all the credit for it, but I can't. I have to give credit to Chiquitha, to your team, to others who were heading down a path before I got there. I had some ideas and suggestions to go along with that and to help support it, but it definitely was a team initiative, and it took teamwork to make that happen. And that is exactly what made it successful, because the team opened up to other partners in our community who all of a sudden had an opportunity to talk to over 4,000 landlords, or to speak to individuals who might benefit from their programs as well. So, for example, when we do a landlord fair, we now have our community service agencies that can provide assistance. We have utility assistance providers there. We have Memphis legal services there if people need assistance with legal issues. We have other people and other agencies who participate to help people be able to kind of have a one-stop shop approach to being able to assist with their needs. We've had the Shelby County schools there, depending on the time we do these, to help people register their children for school for the school year. So it's been a joint effort in accomplishing this. And we have been able to share some of the information about what we do. And HUD has even visited some of these in the past and talked to us about sharing that information with other housing authorities, some of our peers in the industry. And that's been a great opportunity for us to do that. People want information, period. They want it in the easiest way that they can get it. They don't want to have to go through a lot of hurdles. Our people get frustrated enough because our programs are still highly paper oriented and driven. They still have to do way too much, in my opinion, with documents that is not easy for people to do when they don't have the means to get those documents easily. But it has changed. It has gotten better, but there's still a long way to go. But people just want information. And people think that you're keeping something from them sometimes when you don't communicate with them. And when they find out that everybody's hearing the same thing at the same time, and they find out from their peers that many people have worked through some of the issues maybe they encountered, and they share information with each other in addition to hearing from us, they're grateful for it. They're appreciative of it. And we've been told that by many. We've had some who like to use the forum as an opportunity to complain, but for the most part, the higher percentage of participants either program or owners and landlords have expressed appreciation for having these opportunities to get information and to connect with people who need their housing and who need the program.
Well, you guys are doing a fantastic job and keep surprising them with your amazing performance, like you said earlier, where people are still just in shock because Memphis is really a silent strength for the entire state and for housing authorities. So you guys have really, you've got momentum on your side, you've got performance on your side, leadership. You guys have all of the things in place to keep going. So thank you for joining me on this podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I really feel it's really an honor for someone to ask you something about what you love, and it's a privilege. So I really appreciate it.
Well, you are welcome. I think it's so important for people to hear how successful Memphis is and your organization and what you guys are doing for the community. And like you said, being a best practice for the nation. So I'm glad this is the format that we get to just talk about this. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to Changemakers with Katie Gore. To find out more about Katie, go to quadel.com. That's QUADEL.com. This has been a production of Forbes Books Radio.